In the most recent chapter of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, we got a hint to potentially seeing All for One in this current flashback arc. And we all know what we're thinking. Will we get his face revealed in Vigilantes? Well, I'm going to say that we will. And I have the evidence to prove it. That is what this video is going to be all about. So let's hit that intro. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with a video talking about My Hero Academia Vigilantes. And specifically, I want to talk about the potential of having All for One's face revealed in this current flashback arc involving Knuckle Duster and him potentially losing his quirk. And before I get into the nitty and gritty of this chapter, I would like to ask y'all to, if you can, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Blue Drew 97. If you like these type of contents, if you want to see me do more discussion videos on My Hero Academia Vigilantes and just more discussion videos in general, just leave a like and leave a comment down below on this video, and that will show that you're very interested in this. And now, without the way, let's get right into the video. So, in the most recent chapter of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, we got a hint to seeing All for One potentially coming into this flashback arc, which makes sense because when it comes to this flashback arc, I think that it's going down the line of showing us who Knuckle Duster was before he lost his quirk, and will most likely end, if not when he loses his quirk, but maybe a little bit later where we may get the reveal that he is alive. But all in all, the end of this chapter hints that we may see All for One. And me personally, I think that it's alluding that we may be getting his face revealed. And you may be thinking, well, why would you think that? I mean, My Hero Academia Vigilantes isn't really canon in My Hero Academia, is it? Well, that's what I really want to talk about. Particularly, I want to talk about two things that will support the idea that we will be seeing All for One's face being revealed in Vigilantes. The first one is the time frame in which this flashback in My Hero Academia Vigilantes takes place in, and the second one is the precedence of seeing another character's face revealed or their character being revealed in Vigilantes before it was revealed in My Hero Academia. So for starters, I want to talk about the time frame of My Hero Academia Vigilantes and why we will most likely see All for One's true face. And this comes from the fact that My Hero Academia Vigilantes, relatively speaking, takes place around 5 years before the start of the series, which would be 7 years before the current story arc of My Hero Academia. And this is very important because we know for a fact that All Might fought against All for One 5 years ago from the initial start of My Hero Academia. And you may be thinking, well, My Hero Academia and Vigilantes, that would put them around the same time frame with the fight of All Might. So you may be thinking, well, how do we know exactly that My Hero Academia Vigilantes takes place 5 years beforehand, and how do we even know that during Vigilantes that All Might didn't fight All for One already? Well, I have a little bit of evidence for that, starting with the fact that when it comes to My Hero Academia Vigilantes, like I said, most likely it does take place 5 years before the start of My Hero Academia, with a few key points to bring up. The first thing is that we are introduced to Koichi during his freshman year of college. And we know for a fact that it was his freshman year of college is because we get to see him looking for an apartment and preparing to go to a new school. But this is actually confirmed not at the beginning of Vigilantes, but specifically in chapter 66, where Koichi states that when the identity of the crawler, or at least the narrator talks about how the identity of the crawler will be no more. Basically, Koichi will no longer be the crawler, whatever that may be alluding to. It could be retirement, it could be death, he may actually be an official hero, but what this is alluding to is that something is going to happen during the senior year of Koichi's college life, where the crawler will basically be no more, which means that because this is taking place in the summer of Koichi's senior year, this means that at least 3 years have passed by, because in this same chapter we also get alluded to that Koichi has been the crawler for around 3+ years, which aligns with how long he would be in college, because when it comes to college, you normally stay in college for 4 years. And because he hasn't technically finished his 4th year of college as a senior, that means he's only been in college for 3 years. So because he's only been in college for 3 years, and because he's been the crawler for 3 years, they collide with each other with that time frame, meaning that Koichi was the crawler during his freshman year, which you can say that more or less could be considered 5 years. But then you may also be thinking, well, even if it takes place within 5 years, does that mean that All Might could have already fought All for One before the start of this series occurred? And any instance that we see him in the story is an instance after he's fought All for One? Well, not exactly, and here's why. We know for a fact that when it comes to All Might and his ability to fight, it was really diminished after his fight with All for One due to the injury that he sustained. And because of that injury, we know for a fact that he's unable to sustain himself in muscular form, and he throws up blood. Well, in My Hero Academia Vigilantes chapter 55, we see All Might change between his muscular form and his skinny form with ease, and we do not see any form of blood coming out of his mouth, as we've seen multiple times in My Hero Academia, where even with the first instance when we met All Might, when Deku first met him, he had blood coming out of his mouth. And because we didn't see that in the story of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, I think this is showing that he, at the very least, did not fight All for One during the time in chapter 55 where he was saving the people from the Sky Egg. This shows that that mostly likely occurred beforehand. Then he fought All for One. Then he sustained the injuries because he was bedridden with those injuries after the fact. And because we see him flying around and helping people, this means that this hasn't occurred yet, meaning that All for One would still have his face. But here's the thing, the flashback isn't taking place 5 years ago. It's actually taken place farther than that, and we can tell how far away it's taking, not just for the fact that it's been 7 years, but because we have a character and we know their age, and that character is Miracle. Now, in the current story of My Hero Academia, Miracle is 27 years old. And because the current story takes place 2 years before the start of My Hero Academia, that would mean that she would be 25 at the beginning of My Hero Academia. And if we consider that Vigilantes takes place 5 years before the start of My Hero Academia, that would mean that she would be 20. And because 3 years or so have passed in Vigilantes, that would put her right before the flashback. She would be around 23. But the flashback takes place 7 years in the past, which would make her 16, which shows that the timelines exist, because in chapter 87 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, where we are alluded to the fact that Miracle is going to be in this flashback, we see that her and her classmates meet Fat Gum and that they are going on this class trip. So, and also how they are in Hero School. And when it comes to, as far as we are aware of, Hero School in the My Hero Academia world, it is the equivalent of a specialized school for high schoolers. And because it is her final year, which can be alluded to due to the fact that they are taking a class trip, which is normally done for the graduating class, it means that she is at the very least a senior in her hero class, and that lines up with her age of being around 16 and 17, which is normal for high schoolers. So this means that from the current story, the beginning of My Hero Academia, this flashback is taking place 9 years in the future, which is way before All Might and All For One fought, meaning that All For One has not sustained the injuries to his face, which means that if he were to steal a quirk by touching someone, they would theoretically be able to see his face. And because we know for a fact that Knuckle Duster lost his quirk, and the only person in the story that has the ability to take quirks is All For One, then most likely than not, when we see Knuckle Duster's quirk being taken by All For One, we will see his face. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's all and good, but why does that really matter? And even if, like, the timelines add up, what he's like a main villain. Why would his face be revealed in a spin-off series? Like, has this ever happened before? Yes, it has. We have the character Oboro Shirakumo, who made his first appearance in My Hero Academia in chapter 216. Even though he made his first appearance in chapter 216 in My Hero Academia, we never saw his physical face. We only saw the back of his head. It wasn't until chapter 56 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, during Aizawa's flashback to being a student in UA, where we actually get to see Oboro in the flesh, where we actually see his face. And here's something important, because when that chapter came out, it came out in August of 2019, and a few months later, in My Hero Academia Manga chapter 255, that is when Oboro made his official debut in full facial, like frontal, like view, where we could see his face. And this chapter came out December of 2019, meaning that individuals who were reading Vigilantes saw Oboro's face before those who were only reading My Hero Academia. And this ties into my second reasoning for why I think that we will see All For One's face, is that we've seen Oboro's face. Oboro plays a crucial role in Aizawa's development and his wanting to take out Shigaraki, because, spoiler, Oboro was turned into a Nomu that we know as Kurogiri. That is a crucial plot point that was revealed in My Hero Academia Vigilantes. And because this precedent was set in Vigilantes, it means that there's still a possibility of another character in the canon of My Hero Academia that may not have their face revealed can be revealed in Vigilantes. And we also have to take into account that My Hero Academia Vigilantes isn't just a spin-off that Hirokoshi doesn't have any say in it. Each chapter has to go through Hirokoshi first. And because of that, Hirokoshi could very likely have All For One's face revealed in Vigilantes, and then later down the line, and even within the next few months, could have it revealed in the manga, because he set up precedents with Oboro. It's not like it's impossible. It is actually very, very likely. Now, with that out the way, why? Why would we most likely see his face revealed in this chapter or in this flashback? Why would they do this? And I think it's because of the weight that it would provide. Because like I said, Knuckle Duster was formerly O'Clock with the quirk Overclock. All For One is the only individual that has the ability to steal quirks. And from what we learned in My Hero Academia in their past chapters, he has to physically touch someone. If you have the quirk of All For One, you must physically touch someone to steal your quirk. And basically, if you're gonna steal a quirk, like, sure, you're gonna like place it over the face and it may block out the sight, but after that, most likely they will see the face. And I think that's just gonna be an impactful moment, not just for O'Clock to see the person that basically cripples him as a hero, but it would be impactful for the readers because we would get to see a glimpse of All for One. Now, I'm not saying that we will have his name revealed in Vigilantes, because that seems to be extremely more important than a face reveal, but I think that the face is very inconsequential. So yeah, this is a video basically talking about like the reasonings why I think that we will see All for One's face revealed in the, if not in the next chapter of Vigilantes, at least within this flashback arc. I gave a lot of evidence. What do you think? Do you think that we're gonna see his face revealed in this arc? Do you not care about seeing All for One's face because you don't think that it plays a crucial role? Or do you think that something like this will never happen? Leave your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, do all of that cool jazz, and hopefully I will catch you in the next video. Goodbye for now.